Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to the bold and the beautiful spoilers, Will Spencer could land up in even more trouble. Could Melissa Dillon be expecting a surprise pregnancy that will make problems worse? In the July 24th episode, Will removed his shirt and had a makeout session with Dillon on the counter before putting her on the couch. The passionate moments continued, but fans don't know for sure if Dillon and Will sealed the deal. Will and Dillon will still be partially clothed when they wake up, thus they may have stopped short of finishing what they started. A similar circumstance occurred when B&B made it appear that Dillon and RJ Forrester were about to hit the sheets. RJ and Dillon didn't go all the way that night, so Dillon and Will may not have either today. However, it's plausible that Will and Dillon did the deed without entirely stripping down. After their intense argument, Electra Forrester would undoubtedly suspect Dillon went there with Wood. Dillon is about to make a huge revelation, which could include details about her passionate experience with Will. Electra may become enraged, but things may get even worse if Dillon has some baby trouble brewing. If Dillon becomes pregnant by Will, she may be permanently tied to him and the Spencer clan. It may also destroy any remaining hopes for Will and Electra's reunion, so Dillon's future child would be a big thing. Will had already dealt with Luna Nozawa's pregnancy after she took advantage of him. Could Will have another baby-related story after his evening with Dillon? Will's life appears to be a perpetual mess at this point, and Dillon's pregnancy could throw another wrench into the works. According to the bold and the beautiful spoilers, Electra will lash out nonetheless, so don't miss her anger on Dillon and Will. CDL will have all of the exciting bold and the beautiful spoilers and info you're searching for, so check back soon for more B&B details. Few young characters on the bold and the beautiful have been caught up in as much love turbulence as Will Spencer. The son of Liam Spencer and Hope Logan has already faced heartbreak, family pressure, and a highly difficult pregnancy crisis involving Luna Nozawa. Recent developments hint that his personal life is about to become even more chaotic. Recent episodes have seen Will experiencing an extraordinarily emotional moment with Dillon, prompting fans and the characters to worry how far things had progressed, and what long-term ramifications might follow. One possibility that has begun to circulate among viewers and spoiler watchers is that Dillon may become pregnant with Will's child, a development that would come as a shock to an already fragile Electra Forrester and reshape the dynamics among the younger generation of Forresters and Spencers. The groundwork for this conjecture was created in a recent episode seeing Will and Dillon alone together. Dillon was there for Will after tensions with Electra had left him emotionally exposed. Will removed his shirt. The two had a hot makeout session that progressed from the counter to the couch. The moment was filled with the intensity that soap operas excel at. Two individuals seeking connection in the midst of emotional upheaval. When the episode ended, the question remained: did they stop short? Or did the moment carry them the entire way? The next morning, both characters were still partially dressed, which sparked discussion. Some viewers point to prior plots in which the show hinted for closeness but did not deliver, most notably an earlier near-miss between Dillon and RJ Forrester. Others think that the intensity of the chemistry and the emotional stakes increased the likelihood that Will and Dillon crossed the line. If they did, the timing couldn't be more explosive. Electra has been managing her own difficult feelings for Will. Their relationship has been characterized by passion, miscommunication, and external meddling. Electra has already shown a fierce protective streak toward Will, and the idea that Dillon, with whom she has a history and a strained relationship, could have shared such an intimate night with him would be terrible. Electra's reaction is predicted to be explosive, regardless of whether a pregnancy is involved. A furious confrontation is already on the way, and Dillon is about to make a crucial admission during it. It's unclear whether that revelation includes the complete truth about the night with Will, or something more permanent. A pregnancy would raise the stakes from emotional betrayal to something far more serious. Dillon having Will's child would establish an unbreakable biological bond between her and the Spencer family. For Will, who was already traumatized by his experience with Luna, another unexpected pregnancy would feel like history repeating itself in the cruelest way. Luna's situation had been exacerbated by deception and manipulation. A pregnancy with Dillon would have a different, but equally weighty emotional impact. Will has suffered with the feeling that his life is continually spiraling out of control. Becoming a father again in these circumstances would compel him to address issues of duty, loyalty, and the type of man and potential parent he wants to be. For Electra, the news would be especially devastating. She has already felt the heartache of watching Will drift, and the uncertainty of their future together. Learning that Dylan may be pregnant with his kid would not only confirm her worst concerns about the night they spent together, but would also jeopardize any remaining prospect for reconciliation. A baby would signify a future that Electra is not a part of, a lasting reminder that Will's path has deviated from hers in significant ways. Soap operas thrive on these types of permanent changes, and a pregnant storyline would give Electra plenty of reasons to lash out, not only at Dylan but also at Will himself. The upcoming episodes are intended to highlight Electra's rage in full force, and if a pregnancy is disclosed or even suspected, that rage might become the driving factor behind the triangle's next chapter. Dylan's role in all of this is equally complex. She hasn't been portrayed as a straightforward villain. Her feelings for Will appear genuine, and she has made it apparent that she is tired of being on the periphery of his existence. In one recent conversation, she stated unequivocally that if they were to be together, she would not be content with living over the garage. She desired a genuine place in his universe. That kind of declaration implies ambition and longing, rather than simply calculation. A pregnancy, whether planned or unplanned, would provide her with the leverage and legitimacy she is looking for. It would also put her in the awkward position of becoming the other woman in the eyes of Electra, and possibly the majority of the Forrester and Spencer circles. Dylan would have to decide whether to embrace the connection the baby signifies, or try to navigate the aftermath with grace. The broader familial implications would be substantial. The Spencers and Forresters have a long history of complicated romances, hidden offspring, and shifting alliances. Will's father, Liam, has a tangled history involving unexpected pregnancies, and the women who have loved him. Hope has always been a devoted protector of her son. A new baby on the way, especially one born under such difficult circumstances, would draw them both into the drama. On the Forrester side, Electra's pain is likely to draw in RJ and others who have been in the same social circle. RJ's mixed feelings for both Electra and Dylan add another layer. Any residual fondness or rivalry could resurface if news of a pregnancy is revealed. There's also the matter of how the program will handle the logistics and emotional fallout. Soap operas have decades of experience with pregnancy plots that range from happy to sad, redemptive to disastrous. Some pregnancies bring characters together, while others form irrevocable divisions. In this scenario, the latter appears significantly more likely in the short run. Will would confront pressure from all sides. Dylan, who had every right to expect help, Electra, whose sadness may turn into resentment, and his own conscience. The young man, who had already been through one pregnancy-related struggle, would once again find himself at the center of a storm that was not totally his fault, but that he contributed to by his actions. Fans are already questioning the morality of each character's acts. Some feel that Will is the most responsible for allowing himself to become close to Dylan, while his relationship with Electra remained unresolved. Others point to Electra's own decisions, and how she may have driven Will away. Others focus on Dylan, wondering if her pursuit of Will violated the boundary of friendship and loyalty. These disputes are the essence of soap opera fandom, and a pregnancy announcement would amplify them significantly. Viewers would be forced to consider consent, timing, emotional availability, and the long-term implications of a single explosive night. So far, the show has avoided confirming whether Will and Dylan fully consummated their affair. The uncertainty is deliberate. It enables the writers to keep several paths open while increasing the suspense. If the characters do not go all the way, the pregnancy rumor falls apart, leaving the plot to focus solely on emotional consequences and jealousy. If they do, the door opens to medical tests, uncomfortable conversations, and the prospect of a kid who will forever change the landscape. The mere possibility of a pregnancy sends shockwaves across Electra's world. She doesn't need conclusive evidence to experience the pain of betrayal. The mere potential that Dylan is carrying Will's child is enough to deepen her anguish and fuel her rage. Looking ahead, the next few weeks of episodes are scheduled to focus mainly on the showdown between Electra and Dylan. Dylan's huge disclosure might be as simple as admitting the full scope of what happened with Will, or it could be more dramatic. It's unlikely that Electra's response will be measured. When she feels wronged, The young Forrester has demonstrated the ability to speak sharply and act decisively. One of the most intriguing unresolved questions is whether she uses her pain to push Will away forever, exact revenge on Dylan, or make her own daring personal decision. According to the spoilers, Electra will lash out regardless of the pregnancy, implying that emotional pyrotechnics are on their way. Will is under increasing strain. He has spent most of his recent plot reacting to the decisions of the women around him, Luna's duplicity, Electra's conflicting signals, Dylan's overtures. Pregnancy would require him to take a more active role. He would have to consider what type of assistance he is willing and able to offer, how honest he will be with Electra, and whether he is prepared for the lifelong commitment having a kid entails. The fact that he has already had one pregnancy scare may make him more cautious, or it may leave him feeling fatalistic, as if the cosmos is out to upend his life no matter how carefully he navigates it. Rumors of dual pregnancy have also emerged in fan chats, with some speculating that Dylan and Electra may be pregnant at the same time. While that would be a severe escalation even by soap opera standards, it demonstrates the intensity of the present triangle and the audience's desire for high-stakes drama. A single pregnancy with Dylan would be enough to upend several couples. Adding a second would result in a full-blown disaster. For the time being, the more grounded speculation focuses on Dylan, given the timing of her personal contact with Will, and both characters' emotional sensitivity. The young of the persons involved makes this possible plot all the more interesting. Will, Electra, and Dylan are still getting their bearings as adults. Their blunders reflect both inexperience and intent. A baby would accelerate their development in ways they might not be prepared for, requiring maturity, sacrifice, and challenging conversations about the future. It would also put the surrounding support systems to the test. The older generation of Forresters and Spencers has weathered numerous storms of this kind. Their advice or interference could prove critical. As the episodes go, viewers will be looking for clues that Will and Dylan's time together had long-term physical ramifications. A late period, a hidden doctor's appointment, or a sudden shift in Dylan's mood could all indicate that the speculation is about to become a reality. Until then, the ambiguity is a potent story driver. It keeps Electra on edge, Will concerned, and Dylan in a position of unexpected power. It also keeps the audience engaged, with each gaze and carefully worded line of dialogue providing clues. Finally, whether Dylan is pregnant or not, the devastation to Electra's heart has begun. The passionate night between Will and Dylan has altered the emotional terrain for all three people. Trust has eroded. Jealousy has been aroused. The possibility of a child simply elevates the heat to a boiling pitch. The Bold and the Beautiful has long excelled at depicting how love, lust, and loyalty intersect, with disastrous consequences. This current chapter appears to be setting up just that kind of collision, leaving Will, Dylan, and especially Electra to pick up the pieces of yet another tangled Spencer-Forrester entanglement. Fans should be prepared for tears, accusations, and the raw emotional confrontations that characterize the best of daytime drama. The heartbreak is coming. The only question is how permanent it will be. He never imagined that such a small heartbeat could influence his outlook so significantly. That's our baby. The words were powerful. Will gently sat down. For the first time, the pregnancy was more than just a crisis. It was a child. One will always be connected to both of them. I don't want to run away, Will admitted. I know. But I also don't want to lose Electra. Dylan knew well. Unfortunately, life rarely provided ideal solutions. Across town, Electra confided with Ivy. I don't recognize him anymore. Ivy listened carefully. Maybe he's protecting you. From what? I'm not sure. Electra sighed. I wish he would just tell me the truth. Ivy paused before speaking. Sometimes the truth hurts more than the mystery. Those comments echoed long after their talk had ended. Days later, everything detonated. Electra unexpectedly showed up at Dylan's flat. She'd come wanting to figure out what brought Dylan and Will together. Instead, she overheard some of their talk via the half-open door. Electra froze. I'll always take responsibility for our baby. She could not breathe. Her entire universe fell in a single sentence. Without thinking, she pushed open the door. The room immediately fell silent. Will appeared shocked. Electra looked from him to Dylan before voicing the question she suspected she knew the answer to. What about our baby? No one responded. They did not need to. The quiet confirmed everything. Electra slowly backed away. You made Dylan pregnant? We'll reach for her. Please let me explain. There isn't anything left to explain. Tears flowed down her cheek. I trusted you. Every syllable pierced Will's heart. It was one mistake. One mistake that changes every life involved. Electra turned and walked away before either of them could stop her. Outside she had fully broken down. She cried harder than she ever had. Her hopes of marriage, family, and eternal love with Will vanished. Dylan immediately blamed himself once he returned inside. This is my fault. No, Will answered. It's mine too. They both realized the harm was irreversible. News spread quickly throughout the Spencer and Forrester families. Brooke couldn't believe what she'd heard. Katie was devastated. Bill Spencer reacted with frustration. You've created a disaster. Will acknowledged every critique. I know. No, you don't. Bill paced fiercely. A child changes everything. I understand. Do you? Because now every decision you make affects someone else. Bill's harsh tone belied his worry. He realized his son was facing the most difficult trial of his life. Katie later paid Electra a visit. The young woman appeared emotionally weary. I still love him, Electra said through tears. Katie's heart broke. Love does not vanish overnight. But I'm not sure if I can forgive this. Katie softly grasped her hand. Electra welcomed the words. You don't have to decide today. Everyone expected immediate responses. She needed time just to breathe. Meanwhile, Dylan received unexpected backing from Lee. Rather of passing judgment on Dylan's challenging position, Lee advised him to prioritize his health and stability. Stress isn't good for you or the baby. I'm trying. You don't have to solve everyone's problems today. For the first time in weeks, Dylan felt truly understood. Will tried several times to speak with Electra. She disregarded all messages. He eventually discovered her alone at the Cliff home. I know you don't want to see me. You were right. But I had to try. Electra stared out at the water. Why haven't you told me? I was terrified. Terrified of losing myself? Yes. She laughed cruelly. What did hiding the truth accomplish? Will had no response. I'm sorry. I believe you're sorry. She stared at him. But being sorry doesn't erase what happened. Will agreed quietly. Electra continued. I know. The hardest part isn't even the pregnancy. What is? You didn't trust me enough to tell me. This statement stung more than anything else. Because it was true. Long before the truth was revealed, secrets had ruined their relationship. Dylan's pregnancy became more obvious over the weeks. Every public appearance sparked gossip. The Spencer family's developing controversy sparked limitless speculation in tabloid newspapers. Will disregarded the headlines. His attention switched fully to accepting responsibility. He went to medical appointments. He learned about parenthood. He began preparing for a future he did not predict. Watching those developments from a distance caused Electra to experience contradictory emotions. Part of her admired Will for moving forward. Another portion still lamented the future they had imagined together. Electra and Dylan happened to meet at Il Giardino one afternoon. The meeting could have turned hostile. Instead, silence filled the gap between them. Finally Dylan spoke. I never wanted to hurt you, Electra said as she watched Dylan's expression. She saw terror, regret, and true sadness. I believe you. I wish I could change everything. So do I. For the first time, neither of them considered the other an adversary. They were just two people trapped in the aftermath of hard decisions. Electra quietly inquired, Are you happy? Dylan rested his hand on the developing baby bulge. I'm terrified. Electra admitted with a sorrowful smile. I imagine that's different. It is. After a lengthy silence, Dylan said, But I'm starting to love this baby. Electra felt tears well up again. None of this was the child's fault. The grown-ups were solely responsible for any mistakes made. As the months passed, the relationships around them gradually changed. Some wounds started mending. Others stayed excruciatingly fresh. Will continued to strive to rebuild trust, despite the fact that he knew he might never recapture what he had lost with Electra. Dylan prepared for parenting. hoping that the child will grow up surrounded by love rather than discord. Electra gradually realized her own strength. She concentrated on job, family, and regaining the confidence that tragedy had taken from her. Though she still had emotional scars, she refused to let betrayal define the rest of her life. Everyone engaged faced an uncertain future. Would Will and Electra ever reconcile? Will Dylan and Will learn that they are stronger as co-parents than anything else? Could the Spencer and Forrester families overcome another devastating scandal? Only time will answer such questions. For the time being, one irrefutable reality unites everyone concerned. A single unexpected pregnancy had profoundly altered several people's lives, intertwining love, heartache, forgiveness, and responsibility in ways they could never have imagined. The biggest mystery of all was whether those fractured relationships could ever be repaired, but every character was aware that the decisions they made from this point forward would shape not only their own futures, but also the future of the innocent child whose arrival had already transformed everything.